Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So the Diddy trial has taken many twists, many turns. And today, the turn was a Prince concert where there was a brutal confrontation between Cassie and Diddy.
Yes, this story was told on the stand by Diddy's former assistant, Mia. That is the name that she is testifying under. It is a pseudonym, and she is not showing her face at all. The judge instructed everyone in the courtroom there would be no recording of this and that she's using this pseudonym. And she testified about a night that, she testified about Diddy's control over Cassie. In particular, there was one night there was a party that Prince was throwing. They had found out about it. Diddy wasn't going to go. He said he was staying home with his kids, and he had told Cassie she can't go either. Well, Cassie was at home with Mia, and Mia says they kind of debated whether they should go.
And they decided to go, right, despite what Diddy said.
And they went. They were having a good time. She says, we watched Prince performing on a dining room table. It was a wonderful night. And then she looked up and saw Diddy entering the room, and Mia says she thought to herself, oh, crap, and turned to Cassie and said, we got to get out of here. And they did. And what happened after that was, I mean...
brutal.
It sounds cinematic, really.
Yeah, she said she and Cassie just ran out of the house party. They ran across to the street, kind of hid in some woods and some bushes. But she says Diddy saw Cassie, got her on the ground, and was about to attack her. And then that's when Prince's security stepped in and separated Diddy from Cassie.
And this is all going towards the sexual trafficking by coercion. Now we've got more third-party witnesses, Prince's security who is intervening here. It's looking really bad for Diddy because so many of these things were apparently done in public where it's obvious that she was running in fear to a wooded area. I'm not sure how he deals with this on cross.
You know, it's interesting to me. Derek, I don't know how you feel about this, but I agree with you. That's the point of this, to show that Cassie did not have free will. But it's like, why didn't they call Mia right after Cassie? And then, in other words, organize it so you're doing sex trafficking by coercion, and then you do racketeering and get into the Kid Cudi stuff. But they just seem to be hopscotching over a lot of this.
It strikes me the same way. I would have delivered this in a much more organized fashion where we could get all of the Cassie testimony together with people who observed abuse of Cassie, because that would stay organized in the jury's mind. I think some of the witnesses, it's difficult because they're testifying to both types of issues.
But not this.
They witnessed some racketeering stuff and they witnessed some coercion, so it's hard to do.
But not this. Well, I mean, this is primarily, I mean, even though she says she herself was a victim.
Right, that she says that
but that all goes to coercion.
Sexually assaulted her multiple times.
Which goes to the whole coercion idea, that it just seems like she aligns so much with Cassie. Why did they separate the two of them with all these other witnesses?
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're going to have to sort of organize their thoughts for the jury in their closing arguments to say, all of these things that this witness told you, that's about racketeering. All of these things were about sex trafficking. All of this is about interstate transport, so that the jury can go back there and actually look at all of the evidence and come to a conclusion, because you're right, it's a morass right now. There's too much detail about too many different aspects of the case.
Well, one of the day started actually with Deontay Nash, the friend and stylist of Cassie, still on the stand, and he was under cross-examination, and talked a lot about Cassie's dating life outside of Diddy. And Deontay revealed that he was the one who actually set her up with Michael B. Jordan.
We had heard Michael B. Jordan's name even before the trial started, and there was reference to prospective jurors about it as well, questioning about Michael B. Jordan.
Right.
And now it sounds like the two of them, at the very least, I mean, he kind of used the term, I think, hooked up.
Yeah, said that he hooked them up or set them up. Whereas before we had heard it sort of explained away as, yes, they were did a movie together in South Africa, and that's all it was. But you had Deontay saying, no, I actually thought that they should get together and set them up.
And they also mentioned an NBA player.
Yes, he also mentioned the prosecutors asked him about an NFL player. And Deontay said, oh, you mean the cute football player, Andre Branch. And so we had heard reference to her dating an NFL player, but the name hadn't been revealed.
Right.
And there were a lot of people in the sports world sort of guessing who it was. But today, Deontay revealed.
And the point they're trying to make is that they're trying to show that Cassie had some free will. Yeah, because this was cross-examination. That Cassie had free will and exercised it. And that's, I think, the point they're trying to make with this.
How did that land with you guys? Does it seem as though her dating other high-profile people shows she's not scared of Diddy, or will the jurors be able to sort of reconcile those two things? She was trying to get out of the relationship with Diddy. I'm not sure which way it cuts. I know the defense was trying to make that point, but I'm not sure it's a very strong one.
Yeah, those relationships, the fact that she had those relationships does show some free will. Right. It's much different from the Kid Cudi relationship where there was, clear signs of Diddy's jealousy. The idea is that the defense is saying, here's our answer to she couldn't get out of the relationship. Mm-hmm. She felt free enough to date or to see other people. I think that's the point they're making, whether it lands in those cases, and I don't know what the timing was, but Michael B. Jordan or Andre Branch. But
it was like on and off for a long
time. Cudi, where, we've heard plenty of testimony that Cudi was not that.
Cudi was not that.
Was not a free will situation.
Which is why they're bringing up these other two.
Right.
Hi, this is Mel from New York. I believe Deontay Nash's testimony highlights Cassie's free will, but it also highlights how deep Diddy's influence may have run. It paints a picture of control that extends beyond the relationship with Cassie. Whether or not those claims can be proven true, what's clear is that this case raises plenty of questions about who has the ability to speak freely and who pays a price for doing that.
Yeah, we've heard plenty of assistants talk about what threats that they say they received for talking out of turn.
We have. We're going to move on.
All right, so moving on to Todd and Julie Chrysley, who are now free. They both were released from prison yesterday evening, just a few hours after President Trump signed their pardons. And Savannah actually went down to Pensacola to meet her dad, and revealed for the first time, well, she didn't reveal all of him. Let's just put it this way. There was a part of his body that Todd really wanted to show off on their way home.
And there's a reason.
What are you trying to get me to do?
Feel that muscle.
Oh, yeah, feel the muscle. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's hard.
Todd's jacked.
Jacked. Guys, I puke the whole way. I've got Todd over here being dramatic.
I didn't have to deal with this in prison. Guys, we have breaking news that we just got. The documents have been released from the White House giving the full and unconditional pardon to Julie and Todd Chrysley. It's not the detail that we were hoping for.
So it doesn't say anything about restitution?
Nothing about the getting the money back, clawing the money back that they've already paid to the victims. But what we learned yesterday is they won't have to pay anything going farther.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything specific. It just says a full and unconditional pardon and then a bunch of language about empowering someone to release them from prison. Nothing about the imposition of the sentence, nothing about any of that stuff. It's just silent.
They had to pay back over $17 million in restitution based on the conviction. They paid some of it back. What they haven't paid, they will not have to pay. But by not telling, the people who got money, victims, that they had to repay it, I think those victims keep it now.
Seems like they're going to keep it because there's nothing specific laid out in the papers. So.
Right. So speaking of the Chrysleys.
Right. They're just one couple among the long list of pardons that President Trump has issued. And the person who's been by his side, advising him, doing the research on all of them, is Alice Marie Johnson, the White House pardon czar.
See her right there.
And she is going to be right here with us when we come back to talk about who's next and what went into the process of pardoning the Chrysleys, Larry Hoover, NBA YoungBoy. Alice will be here when we come back. Well, President Trump's pardons, by the way, really caught me off guard because the way this normally works is that the president does it at the end of a term. And maybe Trump is doing it in the middle or early because...
I feel like this is now
just... Is this going to happen over the next...
snowballing, maybe over the next 3.5 years.
Right. We already showed you the Chrysleys getting out. Also, NBA YoungBoy, the rapper who was convicted on a firearms charge. He got out, had glowing words about President Trump, of course. And also Larry Hoover. Larry Hoover, who is the founder of the Chicago gang, the Gangster Disciples, and was convicted to 2 life sentences back in 1973, and also has a sentence, 250 years
in Illinois.
In Illinois, which
state court.
He's going to have to go serve that. But why were all of these people and others considered for pardons? What went into it? Well, the woman who was by President Trump's side helping him is very familiar with the process because she benefited from it years ago when Kim Kardashian went and visited President Trump.
And now she's a huge part of this process.
Yes, so joining us right now is the White House's pardon czar, Alice Marie Johnson. Welcome back to TMZ Live.
Hey, Alice.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
We love having you back. We feel like we've got such history with you. So we just love this, Alice, seriously.
You know, questions.
Yeah, we have questions. So look, every president has absolute power when it comes to pardons. And, you know, we have seen a lot. I mean, we've seen Joe Biden pardoning his son. We've seen Bill Clinton pardoning various people. And Donald Trump, in a way, is more transparent than all of them because he's not hiding behind any of it. Now, what I'm told, and I haven't seen it, Alice, is that when the Chrysley's daughter filed her petition, it didn't so much talk about a sentence that was unfair, a conviction that was unfair, as much as it did what she has done for Donald Trump. And he has a right to consider whatever he wants. How much of a factor is that in Donald Trump's calculations on who gets pardoned?
Well, Harvey, I'm the one who actually brought the Chrysleys to the president. And in their petition, she talks really about what happened to her parents. She talks about the case. Now, that's what's in the actual petition, not so much talking about herself. And my children also fought for my release. So I can understand a child really wanting to fight for their parents to come back home.
You know, when Biden pardoned the January 6th committee, you know, there was a partisan ring to it, clearly. And with Donald Trump, you have Ed Martin, who is the pardon lawyer for Donald Trump, for the White House, saying no MAGA left behind. What does that mean to you, especially in terms of who gets pushed through and who doesn't?
Well, you can probably look at the list that went to the president. I don't believe those were MAGA individuals, but they are very grateful individuals who deserve a second chance. When these applications come in and I review them, I have to have an attorney, a trained attorney, who reviews them, pulls all of the elements, their sentencing report, any court documents. And it's very important for me to have their disciplinary from, you know, their progress report. If there's been discipline, a lot of discipline in the prison where they would not be a good candidate. It's very important that they don't pose a safety risk because I don't want to be presenting individuals who will become, I'll say, menace to society. I want to make sure that these are people who pose no risk. Many have aged out of criminality and have totally reformed while they were incarcerated.
I'm curious about the case of Larry Hoover because pardoning him from his federal sentence doesn't really mean freedom for him. I'm wondering if there was a conversation with either Larry himself or people representing him that he wanted to go, he's now going to be transferred to a state prison in Illinois. Was that something he wanted? Because I know he's been in solitary for a very long time in the federal prison there in Colorado. So what was the thinking behind that? Because to a lot of people, it seemed like almost just sort of ceremonial because he's not getting freedom. He's just going to go to a different prison.
you have to do this step, and you have to, in looking at Larry Hoover's case, it must be his freedom from the federal system, which was so deserving for him. This man has been in solitary confinement for almost 30 years, not having seen daylight, not having had human touch. I've been in close contact with his family, with his children, with his wife, and they wanted to see this step take place. This is not ceremonial. This is a step to the door. They're now working on hoping that the governor of Illinois, of Illinois, will have the same mercy that President Trump had upon Larry Hoover. You know, his co-defendant, they're all out. His co-defendant, who was in federal prison with him, was given a commutation by President Biden. And I was told that when he was asked, what about Larry Hoover? He said, with a smile, let Trump do it. And Trump did it. President Trump, I call him the second chance president, because he's giving many a second chance in life that other administrations would not even consider. If you look at a man like Larry Hoover, who was 22 years old when he went in, you think about yourself at the age of 22. He was really a teenager when all of the things started with him. He was a community organizer. He was trying to get people out to vote. It morphed into something else, and it became Gangster Disciples. And then he changed it while in prison to growth and development, and required that they have a high school diploma, and they started mentoring the young men. So still holding up a 22-year-old 52 years later is not only inhumane, but it serves no purpose to this nation. We are the United States of America, which means we're united with those who need a second chance. We're united with people from all walks of life. And this man truly deserves a second chance. So I hope the governor will hear the plea of not only his family, but the plea of the public to let this man go home.
So we're about out of time. I want to make a comment and then ask a compound question.
Okay.
The comment is kind of interesting, because you said that one of the things you look at is to make sure that somebody doesn't go out and commit more crimes or is a menace. My question is, and it kind of aligns with it, you got an alleged kidnapping plot with these two people who were convicted in the plot against Governor Gretchen Whitmer. And Trump said yesterday he's seriously considering a pardon with them. And then I'm just curious about Joe Exotic, because people are talking about him too. So that's a compound question. But on each of those, how do you stand?
I stand that every person needs to be considered. If you are applying, that's your right to apply for your freedom. And everything is taken into consideration. I don't know about the ones who you said plotted to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. But the fact that the president is considering it gives me pause to know that he definitely has looked at the elements. And I'm pretty certain that at some point I'll see it.
Has he considered Joe Exotic pardoning him?
I'm not sure whether he's considering that or not. I can tell you, I personally, I've only been there. I'm in my first 60 days.
Right.
It's not come across my desk as of yet, but it does not mean that it's not in the White House. So I would consider Joe Exotic. Looking at the elements of his case, I don't know that much about his case, even though he's a very public figure. I try not to allow myself to be influenced by public opinion, but to look carefully at the elements of every element of that case.
Alice, you are
Alice Marie Johnson.
You are
she's
good.
Judge Alice Marie Johnson.
You are
now.
good at this. You are really good at this.
Wow. Alice,
Thank you. I'm true at this. Let's say that. I'm not just good at this, I'm true at this.
Fair.
All right.
Fair.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Alice.
So appreciate it.
Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. Anytime. I'm pretty certain I'll be back because there's more to come.
Oh.
Okay. We will take that as an invitation.
Okay.
Thank you, Alice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we are going to take a break.
All right. When we come back, Hailey Bieber celebrating the $1 billion deal, selling her makeup company for a truckload of cash. How did she celebrate? And also how Justin celebrated this big windfall for her.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall. Yeah, right.
It's TMZ.
Well, suddenly Justin Bieber's catalog sale isn't looking so impressive in his own household. You remember, sold it for $200 million, which is not to say it's not a good deal, but
his spouse one-upped him.
That one-upped and then some. Hailey Bieber just sold her makeup company, Rhode, for $1 billion.
There is an asterisk here.
Yes,
there is a big asterisk.
The company
here.
was sold for $1 billion.
She has a big chunk of it.
She'll get a chunk of that, but not the billion. But still, as a businesswoman,
the success of the company is because of her. Rhode is her middle name. But look, we have confirmed that she did in fact sell it to Elf Cosmetics, which if you're a female, you know Elf Cosmetics is kind of like an affordable company sold in like Target and stuff. So Rhode shareholders are going to get $800 million. That's split up between cash and stocks. So $600,000 of that is in cash. $600 million. Oh my gosh, these numbers. Wow, that's a lot. $600 million in cash, $200 million in stocks. Unclear, like you guys mentioned, how much of the stocks and how much ownership she has of it. But one thing's for sure, she's been sitting on a gold mine. She only got this company. She started it back in 2022.
Yeah.
So talk about such a quick success rate.
Well, here's the thing. You said, and it's because of Hailey Bieber. There are a lot of people who think it's because of Justin Bieber.
Right. I was going to say, and that's not, look, she's, run the company.
Right. I mean, she gets a lot of credit.
And gets the majority of the credit.
Would it be this
but
big
the name,
without Justin Bieber?
The fact that her last name is Bieber and that they're a thing together.
Part of her brand is Justin Bieber. So it is because of her. Does that include Justin? Yes, absolutely. That's her husband. Like you mentioned, her last name. But I mean, I think she's always leaned towards skincare in her brand, and people think Hailey has flawless skin. So like she's also a great poster child for the company, and she's still going to be involved, by the way. We're told she's not stepping down at all. In fact, her roles are even more important than ever. So she'll still be a part of it.
So look, the interesting thing here is that in 2022, Justin sold his music catalog for $200 million because he was broke. He was broke at the time and ended up having to sell the music catalog. We know this because we did a documentary recently called TMZ Investigates What Happened to Justin Bieber, which is now available for free on YouTube. And we get into this. And the conventional wisdom at the time was that Hailey's company would be a long-term safety net. And the people we spoke with didn't think she would sell it this early.
Right. Well, when someone steps up and says, $1 billion, but you're right.
It was valued. It was valued
to it.
Yeah.
Right. You could hold on to it,
and it could be
longer.
$2 billion and $3 billion.
But she's still going to have her stock. So even if it goes up, she's still going to make money.
It's just interesting because they have had some money issues, and they spent a lot of money. And I think it's just interesting the timing here that it was sold so early, because the company's only a couple of years old.
Right. By the way, after the deal was announced, Justin had to put up a post congratulating her. They seem happy.
Why wouldn't they be?
He's got happy hands.
He's got happy hands, that's for sure.
Ray calling in from North Carolina. I love this for Hailey, and this is boss moves as a mom and a wife. I think this financial move is definitely going to help their marriage because, as we all know, Bieber was just broke, so she brought a ton of money into their household. So good for her.
Yeah, they got a ton of money for sure.
That's a lot of bacon she just brought home.
A lot of bacon.
Who's going to fry that up?
We're taking a break.
All right, when we come back, speaking of a lot of bacon, President Trump is so not just cozying up to, fully embracing the crypto world. He's making money. His family members are making money. He's got the vice president speaking in Vegas to all the crypto investors. Is this kosher? Are we all cool with this? That while he's in office, making money this way? We're going to get into that with Congressman Rich McCormick. He'll be here when we come back. The White House is fully embracing the crypto world, because you have not only, of course, the president's own meme coin, but now we have the vice president was at this crypto conference in Las Vegas and basically told everyone there that they have an ally in President Trump, in the Trump-Vance administration.
Now, here's the thing. The Trump family is heavily invested now in Bitcoins, in crypto, and are benefiting from the boom in cryptocurrency. And White House press secretary yesterday said the president is not doing this and not benefiting from it. Oh, yes, he is.
It certainly seems like it. I don't know how you say he isn't.
Yes, he is.
I know that's what the press secretary said, but is this, kosher? Are we cool with the president cashing in like this while in office? That's what feels different from other presidents. Lots of presidents benefit financially after they leave office.
They're just not as transparent.
Right.
Well, even in office. I mean, there was a lot of swirl about what happened with Hunter Biden and, during Biden's terms.
So is this the new way? Joining us right now to talk about this is Congressman Rich McCormick. We've had him on before, and happy to see you back with us again, Congressman. Welcome back to TMZ Live.
Thanks. Good to be with you guys today.
We really appreciate you doing this. So, look, the Trump family, you can't deny that they are benefiting hugely by their crypto investments, and they are pushing this with the help of the vice president, with the president talking about it. It certainly is transparent. Is it right?
You mentioned the transparency thing. Absolutely, it's transparent. The funny thing is, no matter who you are, if you're a billionaire, you're going to either benefit or get harmed by the market no matter what you invest in. Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is just one of many investments I'm sure the Trump family is invested in. But if you think about it, every family, any billionaire has a ton of investments. You don't just put it in the bank and just watch it sit there. The fact that cryptocurrency is a hot commodity right now is not surprising to anybody. I tell you, I don't know about you guys, but I have my MBA, I got an MD. I've actually had facilities in my district that I've visited that mine Bitcoin and talked to experts and creators, and I still don't quite understand it. It's really based on speculation on what you think it's worth. There's a lot of faith involved in this currency, just like the American dollar for that matter. You have to believe that it's worth something in order for it to be worth something, but it's so big now, I don't think it can fail.
And you're right about being a billionaire. There are things you're going to be invested in. But launching your own coin while you're in office,
it's special.
Yes, it's special. It's definitely special. We'll call it that.
The one nice thing about Trump, like him or hate him, you know who he is. He's not hiding anything. I mean, that's who he is. He wears it on his sleeve. It's not illegal. He's marketing something. He markets himself all the time. He sells T-shirts. Remember when he had his mugshot on T-shirts, and he made a ton of money off of that. He raises money off everything. He is a social icon before he's
when
president.
He was selling those T-shirts, though, Congressman, that was before he was in office. And that's what feels different now, is that when you're actually in the office, that's when maybe you're supposed to back off. Or traditionally, we've seen presidents not marketing themselves
or be
way.
A car salesman at the White House.
Well, so it all depends on how you look at it. I mean, lots of people write books while they're in office, and they make millions of dollars off that. The question is, where do you draw the line? I'm a physician, it's considered a fiduciary. I'm not even allowed to work as an ER doc. Neither are accountants or lawyers. So there's certain laws in Congress, but those are based off of rules. They're not based off of like a constitutionality. We can look at that as Congress, but there's nothing illegal about it.
You said something a minute ago that really struck me. When you said people don't fully understand what crypto is, they think they might, but they believe in it, that they just believe it. Donald Trump is telling people to believe in it, even though they're not sure. And we've
seen celebrities get burned by that, by the way.
We've seen celebrities really get burned by it. But he is aggressively telling people, essentially, to buy crypto. Because he's saying, and he's using his vice president as well. And when he benefits that way, doesn't that give you pause that he is leading people down that same path as celebrities?
Right.
But it's benefiting him directly.
It's interesting when you talk about benefiting directly and you talk about government. Since the inception of government, When people tell you to buy into a government, look to the government. They'll solve your problems. When we use money for other people's money to actually buy votes, this is nothing new in politics. Everybody's got to believe in something. And the bully pulpit is real, man. The president can affect everybody's opinion just on what they say. This president just happens to be very transparent. He says, believe in what I'm doing, believe in this currency.
But it doesn't bother you that what we would call this in the law is a blatant conflict of interest. That is he really believing it, or is he benefiting from it? And is that his primary motivation? So, I mean,
it's a great question, but here's what I would propose. At least he's not doing it to people who are being duped. He's transparent. What happens when politicians promise you something that comes from other people, not from that politician's pocket, no risk on their part? I'm going to take some money by the tip of a gun and make you force it to go to somebody else so I can buy their votes with your money. That's much less transparent and much more dangerous when it comes to a government. At least this is private.
How is this PR flack coming out and saying the president is not benefiting from this at all? Really?
Like I said, I don't know. I'm not the PR guy. I'm not a legal analyst. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a doctor. But I will say at least it's not using other people's money. This is very much in his own wheelhouse. He's not using the government funding like we saw in the last administration to actually take and spend on things that nobody would ever spend money on, especially your tax dollars on. This has nothing to do with tax dollars. So at least we got that going for us.
Let's talk about something that is definitely tax dollars, and that is a parade that is coming up in just a few weeks. President Trump has announced that there's going to be as he describes it, like none other before, a military parade, basically showing off our military strength. I know you are a veteran yourself, and so is Harvey. He always reminds me. But yes, this big parade coming up on June 14th. It is Flag Day, but I think more importantly to the president, it's his birthday. Are we celebrating our military, or are we celebrating the president's birthday?
That depends on who you are and what you think about the president. But, I've been in a million parades. If you're in the military for over 20 years, you're going to stand in a lot of parades. You're going to march in a lot of parades. This is going to be a big parade, but quite frankly, these people are going to get paid whether or not they're in a parade. Those tanks are going to be rolling around doing something. So this is not as big a deal as people make it out to be.
Okay, well, finally, Congressman. So how are you going to feel when you're driving to the Capitol and your car bottoms out because of a sinkhole from the tanks?
I hope that doesn't happen. I don't know. I'm sure they're rate tested for tanks too, but
someone's doing that right now. I'm sure it's probably part of the $45 million estimate to put on this parade. But are you going to be part of the parade, Congressman?
If they ask me to, I'll put on my old uniform. I love the military. I tell you, I'm really excited about what the military is doing right now. We're really forming a new mission statement with better weapons, better contracting. I'm actually pretty excited about what's happening in the military. I'm on armed services. I take that very seriously. So Memorial Day is a special day to me, too. That just recently happened. I just want to acknowledge those guys who have gone before me. We have friends that we know that have gone. Nobody serves in the military without having friends that have passed. So hats off to those guys.
What branch were you in?
Absolutely.
I was in the Marines for 16 years and Navy for 4 years. I was a Marine Corps pilot, Navy ER doc. So this is very near and dear to me.
Well, I typed in the Air National Guard Reserves.
and thank you for your service as well.
Thank you so much,
Congressman, thank you. We really appreciate you being with us.
Always a pleasure, guys. Semper Fi.
Okay, we are going to take a break.
All right. When we come back, new video of the victim in the crypto torture case in New York City. Video of him escaping that apartment and making a beeline for police. Well, we have been following this crypto torture case in New York City, and we've seen the arrest of the two suspects. We've heard the description of the torture that went on in this townhome in Soho. And now we have the first video showing the escape of the victim here, the Italian tourist, the Italian businessman who had been in business with the two suspects. That's him. That's Michael Carturin.
You see him literally running for his life.
Yeah, and bolted out of there. Remember, there was nearly 3 weeks. They said he was held in there and went through shock.
He supposedly had a moment where he had given them, his captor, a
He said, I'll
password.
give you the password.
And
Just
while
grab my laptop.
And while the guy was dealing with the laptop, he somehow, it's like a movie.
still wanna know
how he did
how
it.
he
I know.
got away,
I don't
finally.
understand that either. I mean, it's like a movie where the ties are loose
Yes.
enough, but that's crazy after 3 weeks. So he escaped. And I could look at this 100 times because you just try
to think what's going through his
Yeah.
mind. Where am I running? Who am I
Yeah.
Who am I telling first?
You see how frantic he is, obviously running to get out of there, but also it looks like he's barefoot in the video.
He is.
And I mean, running barefoot on New York streets.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
You gotta be
Come on.
the
The least of his problems. The least of his problems.
By the way, didn't they say he had an air tag on him? Or they told him there was an air tag somewhere on him so that if he escaped, we're going to know where you are.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. I mean, it's interesting because all we really know is obviously what was filed in the criminal complaint, which is obviously what the Italian guy told cops happened to him. We still have no idea, as far as from the crypto guy's side, what they're gonna say to cops, what they're gonna say in court, because obviously they were just charged. I know, Harvey, you clearly know a lot about what's going on here, and it just seems like it's gonna get much deeper.
I'm looking at a text I got from somebody who knows a lot about this. And I am telling you, this is more than a movie. It's more dramatic than a movie. Based on what I was told, it's like, this is not their first rodeo. You don't just grab somebody, kidnap them, torture them for 3 weeks the first time around. And the text that I got from somebody who is really in the know in this case, who's involved in the whole social scene, it is crazy what was involved here. I mean, there are allegations involved.
I mean, we know that this is becoming a more common thing, right? That people are being held up, going through burglaries to get to their crypto wallets.
Right.
So
there are 27 of these.
Because it's not traceable once you get the money. It's like it's the easiest crime, I think, at least to commit as far as stealing something.
Well, getting away with it.
Yeah.
Ebony from Long Island here, and I couldn't agree more. It is so surreal to hear this because when cryptocurrency was first introduced, we were all like, what is this? Like fake monopoly money, a scam?
We're still saying that. A lot of people are still saying that, yeah.
Like, it's crazy. And then you see this man who is being held hostage over essentially monopoly money.
Yeah.
And fearing for his life. It's absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
Let me tell you,
it's going to get more insane.
It's nuts. Okay, that time of the week.
Your favorite time. Tim is here with his rejects.
All right, so have you guys ever seen those speed painters?
The speed painters, yes.
Yeah, so check this out. This is pretty impressive. So a guy starts with a blank canvas, and all while the national anthem is going on at a baseball game.
All right, what is it going to become?
So he's painting.
Let's see what this is going to become. Don't tell me. I'll figure it out.
So the national anthem is going, and then he starts with the blue on that side, and then he goes to the other side, and then he grabs a little bit of the red paint.
US flag?
And he guesses here.
Is it a Smurf?
No,
what
it's
it's
red
going to be.
and blue.
And so he has to go fast because he has to finish.
Oh, Statue of Liberty. But
And
see, he threw you
right
off because he
as
was
the
doing it
national
upside
anthem
down.
Finished. He turns it up, and it's the
thumbs up
Statue
there.
of Liberty. So pretty cool, all while
I don't get the
national
red.
anthem. So about
I kind of like that.
2.5
No,
minutes or so.
I like that one. Okay, next.
All right, so well, Harvey, you may not like this one because of your history with bicycles, but nonetheless, this is...
You know, the anniversary's coming up.
Well, I'm sorry,
Sure
but
is.
this is kind of different. Playing soccer while on bicycles is pretty impressive. You have to be very precise. Because
but there's no there's no goalie
There's no
there.
goalie? Well,
There's
I mean,
no goalie.
it's still impressive. You don't need it's just impressive
still,
enough to do.
there's no
No,
goal.
wait, maybe that kid was supposed to be the goalie.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's
Thanks, Tim.
sport you won't
triggered
be doing.
PTSD time.
Yeah, okay, well, next time you go on vacation, are you guys going to go foil boarding?
Actually, you might.
I might, actually.
That's kind of his thing.
All right,
Or
well,
at least it is for now.
this is the very first double backflip on a foil
that's
board.
not gonna happen.
World's first. So
Not intentionally, anyway.
pretty good double flip here.
By the way, that's crazy because this is not easy. Well, you can get the momentum.
He's going up a little bit of a wave
Yeah, you
there?
can get them. That's crazy. Wow. Okay, Tim, I'm going to do it.
All right.
I'll give you pictures when I get back.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that video myself.
All right, rest in peace. Taking a break.
When we come back, Offset wants spousal support from Cardi. Really? Okay. Well, there's some numbers behind that. We'll get into it when we come back. Well, Offset and Cardi B are progressing in their divorce, although I'm not sure that
it ain't going well.
It's not going to go quickly, and I'm pretty sure Cardi's not going to be thrilled with this latest development.
This is fascinating.
Look, Offset is requesting spousal support from Cardi. Now, we always, when this happens, it's not often, but rarely it happens where the man is asking for spousal support. By the numbers, it's fine.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Fine.
Charles, let me ask you a question. If
one person
has $1 billion, Charles, and somebody else has $2 billion, do you think the one with $1 billion gets spousal support? Right? So now just back it up.
Right.
It doesn't have to be $1 billion.
Right.
But if both are self-sufficient at a point, come on, man.
Okay. Well, Offset feels differently, obviously. Now, so, look, these estimates are always...
You never know.
You never know, but the estimates that are out there as far as each of their net worth, Cardi is somewhere between 80 and 100 million, and Offset...
measly
30 million.
Measly 30 million.
30 million.
Yeah.
Now, you're right. I'm not saying that Offset is hurting for cash and that he's not going to be able to get by without spousal support. But
it's just really interesting that Offset, he still has earning potential as a superstar rapper, his Migos legacy. So it's interesting that he would want spousal support. Also, Cardi is the one who said that he ruined the marriage. So,
but this isn't divorce. This is spousal support.
Yeah,
and they're not
part of the divorce.
Yeah, I mean...
Well,
he's not going to get it.
You don't think he's going to get anything?
Offset's not going to offset anything.
So he's asking just to sort of twist the knife?
By the way, I will correct myself. There are some states where it matters.
Yes.
Jenna, Chicago, and I guess Offset's got to do something to keep his name in the headline. Cardi should just be left alone. He just needs to leave her alone. And she shouldn't have to pay spousal support. But I guess when you're the breadwinner in the family, you just might have to. And it's a shame that $30 million just isn't enough for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he lives a very lavish lifestyle. And
but then again,
he needs to stay in the lifestyle that he has grown accustomed.
Right. So is it a 30 million lifestyle or a 100 million lifestyle? That is the question, says Shakespeare. I'm taking a break.
All right. When we come back, Sydney Sweeney wants you to lap up her bathwater. Well, you can use her bathwater. She's found a way to actually cash in on her bathwater. You remember Sydney Sweeney teamed up with the Dr. Squash guys, the soap company?
Yep.
She did this commercial. She said, you dirty boys, and she's sitting in the bathwater. Well, the folks at that company decided they would basically market Sydney's bathwater. I guess they had such great response to a commercial with her sitting in a bathtub.
And why waste a good bathtub, right?
So the way there's no way I can confirm this, but they are marketing at least a new soap that they used her bathwater to make the soap. There's a certain audience they're going for.
What community is that?
Primarily men, I think.
No, but is it a specific, fetish community?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm offended that you think I do.
So they used to say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Now you don't even throw out the bathwater. Conservation, folks. See you tomorrow.
Saving the planet.